In this video, we're talking basic lighting principles. Light is one of those things that can be really tricky to figure out when you're first starting out as a photographer. It feels like it's really hard to see what direction does it need to come from, how big does my light source need to be, and repeating the same process time and time again feels really tricky in the beginning when you know what you like, but you don't know what lighting principles create what you like, if that makes sense. In this video, we're gonna break down what those basic principles are so that you can spot it every single time and use the light you love for every single session. So one kind of neat thing about light is that it can be really hard to determine exactly what you love about a specific photo you take. Say you take this one photo you love the light, something about it is glowy and beautiful and skin tones look beautiful, but you don't know exactly how you created that photo or how to replicate that light when you go to your next session. The beauty of light is that once you see it, once you know those basic concepts, you can't unknow them. You can't unsee light. So let's conquer those basic lighting principles so that you can choose the light that you love every single time. Light comes down to just a few basic principles. Now, I'm talking to you if you are a light and airy lover, you love true to life skin tones, you love that kind of soft, glowy look in your images. This is gonna be the lighting that you wanna look for every single time. Beautiful light really comes down to just a few basic principles, and we're gonna break them down in this video. Lighting principle number one is the direction of your light source. We want light coming from just one direction. The reason we want this, and the reason I'm even using that kind of light for this video, using beautiful directional light, is because it creates beautiful dimensional looking shadows. So my light source is where my hand is right here, right? So you can see the brighter, more illuminated part of my face is over here, and then shadows kind of gently fade as the light falls across my face, right? We have nice shadows on the opposite side of my nose. We have shadows kind of over towards this ear, and one side of my face is more illuminated than the other. This creates a really beautiful dimensional type of light that gives your images depth, almost kind of a 3D feel to them. That's why we want light from just one direction. Now, you may be thinking, what happens if it's coming from multiple directions? Well, if I had a light source also coming from this side, I'm getting light on both sides of my face. I'm gonna have so much light on me that I don't have any shadows. It starts to look really flat. There's no dimension to that image. That's why we really want it to come from one direction. The other thing we want to consider in using directional light is the way we have our subject's face. So right now I'm sitting at about a 45-degree angle from my light source. I have this big, beautiful window off to this side of me over here, which is why you're seeing highlights over here. That's a brighter part of the image, and shadows over here. I'm standing at a 45-degree angle so that I get some shadow, right? Anything that's not directly hitting the light source on the opposite side of the light source is gonna be shadow, right? The light hits me direct here, it can't quite reach here. That's why I have these kind of really nice shadows in through here. Something you wanna think about is that you don't wanna have your subject face that light source completely. Let me show you what that looks like real quick. Now I'm talking to you lit from the front. This is flat lighting. You see how all the nice shadows that were over here on my face are gone? And my face is totally evenly lit. This is a little less appealing than that really nice directional light. You can see if I start to turn my face towards that 45-degree angle, I'm getting some shadows back. Versus looking right into the window, this is flat light. So that's something that we want to avoid. Again, that ideal light comes from a nice 45-degree angle directional light source. Let's talk about our next lighting principle. Let's talk about the size of your light source. So the size of your light source, how big or how small a window, or if we're talking about artificial light, how big a modifier is. So if you're using a big studio strobe, how large or how small your modifier is, that correlates to how soft or how harsh your shadows are gonna be. The larger your light source, the softer your light is gonna be. This is because we have a much larger surface area of light hitting our subject, which creates a softer, more glowier look. If we have a really small light source, we're gonna get much harsher shadows and much harsher highlights, right? Again, so highlights are the brighter part of your image. Shadows are, just as they imply, the shadow part of your image. If you have a small light source, you have much less surface area of that light able to hit your subject, and create a softer look. If you are looking for a really light and airy, soft look, you want a large light source. So a really big window or a really large modifier if you're using artificial light. Let's talk one more basic lighting principle, and that's gonna be the proximity to your light source. This one kind of used to trip me up, but now that I know it, I can't not know it. That's the beauty of learning these basic principles and then applying them to every single session that you do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time and figure it out. You can easily call out what you have to work with. Is my light source big? Is my light source small? Am I going to be close to my light? Am I going to be far away? So let's talk about that last one. Let's talk about distance to the light source. So here's the deal with proximity to your light source. The closer you are to your light source, a window, a strobe modifier, whatever it may be, the softer your light is going to be. You're going to get much softer shadows because you're going to be able to get much more of that light on your subject's face. You can see as I get closer to the light, more of my face is becoming illuminated simply because I'm getting closer to my light source. If I move further and further away, your shadows are going to get a bit more pronounced and you're going to have a slightly less soft light to work with. So proximity is something you really need to be aware of when you're placing your subjects for your session. Okay, so let's put those three things together. We have three basic concepts to work with, three basic principles, so that we can call out the exact light we're looking for every single time. We want light from one direction. So when you walk in, you say, okay, where's my lighting from? That's gonna help us know where to place our subject to achieve a certain look. The next is going to be, how big is my light source? Now, if you're in a client's home, this gets a little bit trickier because you have the windows that they have to work with. That's something you're not gonna be able to control. That's something we can talk about later. Just something that I want to point out, if you do have a studio, you do have that control over the size of your light source. I have two really big natural light windows in my space. Maybe your space has something that you're used to working with, and you can now be aware of how large or how small that light source is. And that's the second thing we want to know. Do we have a nice large light source to work with, whether it's natural light or artificial light? And then the last principle is, how close do we need and want to be to that light source? The closer we get to the light source, the softer our light is going to be. The further away, the more distinct and more pronounced those shadows are going to be. If lighting feels like a question mark to you, I hope this video helped you realize some things about the qualities of light that you're looking for so that the next time you have a session, you can quickly identify and call out that light and get the exact look that you were trying to achieve. If you're a lifestyle newborn photographer that shoots on location and light and consistent light, working with natural light trips you up in your client's home, I have a free Conquer Light on Location blueprint ready for you. You can grab it in the link in the description box, and I would love to help you on your journey to creating beautiful, consistent light, no matter the size of the window in your client's home, no matter the weather outside, if it's dark and rainy. I would love to help you with that. So go ahead and grab that freebie right in the description box. And if you'd like more lighting tips, more lifestyle newborn photography business tips, make sure you click subscribe. And I can't wait to see you for the next video.